Emma walked past the same cafe every morning, her thoughts occupied by the routine of her solitary life. Today, however, something made her pause. A man sat on the sidewalk, his unkempt hair falling over his tired eyes. His clothes were worn, but there was something about him, something familiar. She hesitated before stepping closer. "Are you hungry?" she asked. The man looked up, surprised. "I won't say no to a meal." There was no desperation in his voice, only quiet gratitude. Emma bought him a sandwich and a coffee, watching as he ate with careful restraint. "What's your name?" she asked. "Daniel," he said between bites. "And you?" "Emma." They sat in silence for a moment. The rain began as a light drizzle, then quickly turned into a downpour. Emma glanced at the man's thin jacket, then at her apartment building down the street. She knew the risks, but something told her to take the chance. "I have a spare room," she said hesitantly. "You can stay for a few nights if you want." Daniel looked at her, searching for any sign of pity. Finding none, he gave a small nod. "Thank you." Inside her apartment, she showed him to the guest room. He looked around, as if amused to such kindness. "There's a shower if you need it," she said, offering him clean towels and some of her ex-boyfriend's old clothes. Daniel accepted them without argument. As she stepped away, Emma found herself wondering what she had just done. Letting a stranger into her home wasn't something she ever imagined doing. But something about Daniel made her feel safe. That night, she lay awake, listening to the rain against her window. In the quiet, she heard the sound of water running from the guest bathroom. He was still awake. She didn't know why, but she felt comforted by the thought that he was there. The next morning, Emma knocked on the guest room door, half expecting Daniel to be gone. Instead, he emerged looking almost unrecognizable. Clean-shaven, hair neatly combed, and dressed in a sweater and jeans that fit him well. He looked like someone who belonged, not a man she had found on the street. "Morning," he said with a small smile. Emma nodded, hiding her surprise. "Coffee." They sat in the kitchen, and for the first time, she got a glimpse into his past. He told her he had once worked in finance, built a life for himself, until a bad business deal cost him everything. Friends disappeared, debts piled up, and soon, he was on the streets. Emma listened, drawn in by his honesty. She saw no bitterness in his words, just a quiet acceptance of the choices that had led him here. Over the next few days, he became part of the routine. He helped with chores, fixed things around the apartment, even cooked dinner one night. Emma found herself looking forward to their conversations, to the way he made her laugh when she least expected it. But there were things he didn't say. One evening, while putting away laundry, she noticed his backpack partially open. A photograph peeked out, a younger Daniel with a woman, her face scratched out. The sight unsettled her, but she pushed the thought aside. It wasn't her place to ask. That night, as they sat on the couch, he asked, "Why did you help me?" Emma hesitated before answering. "I don't know. I felt like I should." Daniel looked at her, something unreadable in his expression. "Most people wouldn't." She shrugged. "Maybe they should." For a long moment, neither of them spoke. Then slowly he reached for her hand. She didn't pull away. Emma wasn't sure when it happened, but the distance between them had disappeared. Their conversations lasted longer. Their silences felt more comfortable, and the way he looked at her made her heart race in a way she hadn't felt in years. She tried to fight it, reminding herself that Daniel was still a stranger, but the pull was undeniable. One evening, they sat on the couch, the glow of the lamp casting soft shadows around the room. Daniel reached out, brushing a strand of hair from her face. "You don't have to be afraid of me," he said softly. "I'm not," she whispered, though she wasn't sure if that was entirely true. When he kissed her, it wasn't rushed. It was careful, as if waiting for her to pull away. But she didn't. Instead, she let herself sink into it, let herself believe, just for a moment, that this could be real. That night, they lay tangled together, his warmth against her skin, his breath steady against her shoulder. Emma let herself close her eyes, let herself trust. But trust was dangerous. She woke the next morning to an empty bed. Confusion turned to dread as she stepped into the living room. The drawer where she kept her savings was open, the envelope of cash gone. Her heart pounded as she ran to the closet where she had hidden her jewelry. Empty. Panic clawed at her chest. She grabbed her phone, searching his name. The first result was a news article. Charming conman targets women, disappears without a trace. Her stomach dropped. Photo after photo of him with different women. Smiling, holding hands. And then gone. Emma felt sick. She stumbled back, her mind racing. The way he had looked at her, the way he had touched her, it was all a lie. Then came a knock at the door. She froze. And then she opened it. Daniel stood there, his eyes filled with something Emma couldn't quite read. Guilt? Regret? She didn't care. Her hands clenched at her sides as she fought the urge to slam the door in his face. I had to come back, he said, his voice quieter than before. She let out a bitter laugh. To take whatever's left. His jaw tightened. I know you saw the articles. I won't lie, I've done terrible things. But you are different. Emma scoffed. I was convenient. No, he said firmly. You were the first person who actually cared. It wasn't just about a place to stay or money. You made me want to be better. He hesitated before pulling an envelope from his pocket and holding it out to her. Take it. Everything I took, plus more. I don't want it. Emma stared at the envelope. It didn't make sense. Conmen didn't return what they stole. They didn't look at you like this, like they were breaking apart from the inside. This doesn't erase what you did, she said, though her voice had softened. I know. He looked down. But I couldn't leave knowing I had destroyed the one good thing in my life. For a moment, neither of them spoke. Emma's mind screamed at her to tell him to leave, to shut the door and never look back. But her heart whispered something else. She took the money, but didn't move aside. I hope you change, Daniel. But I won't be the one to save you. He nodded slowly, accepting her answer. His eyes lingered on her for just a second longer before he turned and walked away. Emma watched him disappear down the street, her chest heavy with something between sorrow and relief. She stepped inside, locking the door behind her. She had lost something that night, but she had also found something far more valuable. Herself.